What's up, guys? Hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome back to the channel. So excited to see you here today. So today, as promised, in a previous video of barbell rowing, I said that I would teach you guys what I knew about Penley rows, Yates rows, barbell rows, different variations. There's so much clutter on the internet. It's so easy to get confused. There's a lot of people who hate rows. But the fact of the matter is that there's not a one-size-fits-all for rows. Everybody will do them differently, myself included. So even if you don't like the exercise barbell row, the good news is that there are a million different ways that you can do it to manipulate it to get your back as thick as humanly possible. And today I'm going to talk to you about these little tips that I've found out over the years that I feel will definitely help you guys along your journey, help shortcut you to a bigger back. So first of all, let's talk about rows in the general sense of not every row is the same. There are many variations of rows and everyone does them differently. There are some people who prefer their rows more to their midsection, so when they're elbowing back on the bar, they prefer to be about the belly button area where the bar hits. There are other people like myself who like to graze the bar upon my thighs, and I like to drag it up. For me, that gives me a good groove so that I can get a visual path and a feeling to how I need to elbow back. For me, that's easier. And also there are people who come more out with their elbows and more in with their elbows. With all these variations, it's very difficult to know what should you do and how should you do it. Everybody says, okay, build a bigger back. The barbell row by far is the king back builder. There's not a better exercise other than T-bar row that will put raw mass on your back. Deadlift doesn't even come anywhere close compared to the mass that a barbell row can put on your lower back, on your upper back, on your traps, rhomboids, rotator cuff, the whole 9 yards. So let's talk. So first we're going to talk about the different variations. Now, a lot of people, when they start with barbell rows, the first thing they do is they just get a weight and they try and go as heavy as possible, as quickly as possible. Do not fall into this trap, guys. I've done it. Everybody's done it. Everybody here, if they're telling the truth, has done it. So just make sure when you're starting to do a new exercise or you're trying to really tweak an exercise to make it work for you, the first thing you're going to want to do is get your ego and throw it out the window. You do not want to lift with your ego when it comes to barbell rows or any other new exercise that you're trying to generate new growth with. Remember, if you did the same thing the way you've been doing it, you'll look exactly the way you look right now. And chances are, if you're trying to tweak something, you're looking for better results than you have right now. So throw your ego out the door and then make sure that you focus on only using the bar for a little while. Get the feeling down. If the bar is easy, you got your groove down, your form feels kind of tight, then slowly add weight. You can do this within 1 to 2 workouts. So you could start with just the bar and then maybe at the end, once you're feeling a little more comfortable, throw a 10 on each side or throw a 25 on each side. I wouldn't go much heavier than that if you're trying to really work on form and get everything tight, but you really need to get that motor movement pattern started. Now, a quick tip for you guys, pro tip, the farther out you barbell row with your elbows, the more upper back you're hitting. I'm talking rear delt, mid-trapezius, and rhomboids. The more of those areas and traps that you're hitting, the tighter your elbows are to your midsection, the more lats you're going to work. So as you come up, less lats, less lats, less lats, more traps, more traps, more delts. And then as you come down, less traps, less traps, less traps, more lats, 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 until you have an extreme here. Now, that's an easy way to remember how you should be rowing to target a specific area. So the really cool thing is that Dorian Yates really prized himself on an underhand grip position. He did his lat pull downs underhanded, he did his barbell rows underhanded, and he even liked to deadlift underhand. What was his reasoning on that? Well, the tighter you get your elbows to your midsection, the harder your lats can contract. For me, I feel my lats better when I take the biceps out of it and I do a double overhand, because I can still get super tight because of my body structure, and I can still elbow back even though my hands are pronated. Now, there are other people like Dorian Yates who feel that no matter what, doing this, supinating your grip, double underhand, they feel that it takes a lot of guesswork out of it. However, you are going to be throwing in a lot of biceps, a lot of brachialis, and a lot of supporting muscles like that. For me, I believe the muscle's too small to really handle the weights that I'm rowing, and I'd rather not get a bicep injury because I'm doing 300 pounds with a barbell row when I could just, when I can barely even curl a plate on each side for my barbell curl, you know what I mean? So I take the biceps out of it. I prefer a double overhand, but an underhand grip will work, absolutely no question about it. It gets your elbows tucked in, and that's the whole reason for it. Now, grip. So depending on what your goal is, if I had really weak lower lats and really weak biceps, I would consider underhand gripping often. In fact, every single chance I got, because I want to make sure that added tension is on the actual biceps and on the lats, and I want to get my elbows tucked into my side as tight as possible. If that wasn't my goal, if my goal was just lat thickness, hamstring, glute, I just wanted a dense, thick, fat muscle look, then I would go overhand, because for me, I can strap better overhand, and it's easier for me to put my mind on my elbow and to elbow back against my thighs when I have a double overhand. Now, the different rows, I'm kind of jumping from point to point, but I'm kind of scatterbrained. I do all of this like ad lib. I don't write or rehearse anything. This is all natural, spot on. This is how it comes, man. I just get in front of a camera and talk, so I hope you enjoy. So we're going to talk about the different rows, and then talk about the different rows in relation to what I just taught you. So the first row is a Penley row. So if you're not familiar with a Penley row is where you are completely parallel to the ground, your upper body, as you row. Now, a lot of people, when you do a Penley row, you're not going to just stay like this. It's almost impossible. Unless you're using an extremely light weight, you're going to have some movement here. Now, a lot of people, power lifters, like Penley Row, strongmen like Penlays, Russians, that Russians used to do them a lot. It's one of those exercises that is phenomenal for developing explosive strength. And I mean explosive, and I'm talking about a dead stop. So to start the movement, you're parallel to the ground. You're literally like this, like a hinge, and you grab the bar however you want to grab it, and then you explosively row until you hit your chest or your sternum or wherever you hit your abs, and then you come back down. Now, that row is awesome. However, it's not really good for building mass. It never has been. A lot of people say, oh, well, you're not rowing right if you don't do a barbell row. And that's just ignorance, because technically a Penley row is just as much of a barbell row as a Yates row and a traditional barbell row. There's literally no difference. The only difference is that you're lifting with your ego. It's one of those things like a strict curl. I wouldn't do a strict curl to build bicep mass. I would do a variation of a cheat curl, anything to overload the muscle, to add more metabolic stress, anything like that is what's going to build your muscle. But when you're constantly just lifting strict, you're going to reach a plateau very quick, and you're not going to be able to continue to progress building muscle just because your body has no increased reason to build it, right? You have no increased overload. You're constantly doing the same weight you're stuck at, i.e. a plateau. So I don't really like Penley rows. I'd never recommend you do them for mass. However, if you're looking to build explosive strength from a dead stop, or you're looking to build the bottom of your deadlift, So if you're deadlifting and you can't get it off the floor with the weight that you're trying to get, I would definitely start incorporating Penley rows, because that's going to really work that bottom range of motion. It's going to keep your lower back tight. It's going to get your lats engaged extremely quickly, and it's going to force your body to respond quickly, explosively. That's what Penley rows are good for. Really good for explosive strength. Wouldn't do them for mass if it were to save my life. I just don't believe in them. The second row is the Yates Row, guys. So everybody's seen the Yates Row. Anytime you watch a video of Dorian Yates, you can watch all of his training videos. He's always utilizing an underhand grip. However, not only is he utilizing an underhand grip, he deadlifts it up underhand, and then he literally is about almost upright to standing up position. So instead of him being like a Penley row, and instead of him being completely upright like a shrug, he's about right here. He's very close to being standing up. However, he has some of the freakiest lats in history, and he was one of the first guys to ever bring lats into the equation as a mass monster. He had absolute thick wings. I mean, he could fly off if he wanted to, of just flesh. And that came from him being able to control that weight, keep his elbows tight, and he would literally just flex with his lats. He would take 405 and squeeze it up and hold it for a pause, and then he'd come back down. Now for me, I've tried that variation of lifting. I can do that all the way up to 275 for a couple of reps. But the problem with that is I don't feel my lats engaging more than explosively lifting and elbowing back. I get a much better, more solid contraction and pump repping the weights rather than holding them for a pause. But I have tried it. But the whole meaning of this video is I'm just introducing these things. You try what works for you, and then everybody wins. Everybody does their own thing, find what works for you, and then you're going to get on your path for growth, which is the whole reason for this video. So that is the Yates row. It's pretty much in a nutshell. It's not a Penley row. It's almost upright. It's a double underhand grip, double supinated grip. Now the traditional barbell row, some people call the Penley row the traditional barbell row. That's very incorrect. The traditional barbell row isn't all the way upright. It's not parallel, and it's not almost upright. It's about halfway in between. So if you were halfway in between parallel and all the way standing up, boom, that's your traditional barbell row. Traditional barbell row, it doesn't matter whether you're overhand or underhand. That's why I said all these barbell rows are actually just a barbell row. There's no difference in them other than the style that you execute, but still in the beginning and in the end, the goal of the exercise is to take your elbow from here and bring it behind your body. This is a barbell row right here with the elbow. Here, 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 here. It doesn't matter how high or how low, it's still a barbell row. And that's the name variation for them. Now, if you're not doing rows, I highly recommend you start. I like the double overhand. I've already told you why. I feel my lats contract a lot better, but you may not. Your body structure may be different. Another added little tip that I've found is that when you pull your shoulders back, so like let's say for example, try this right now. Take your chest and poke it out. So arch your chest up and out, poke your chest out like you're proud, and then take your shoulders and roll them back like this. So I'm doing this. I'm poking my chest out, rolling my shoulders back. So what I'm doing there is when I roll my shoulders back and elbow back, I get an extremely strong contraction in my lats. Even more so than me just rowing right here. I can feel my lats contract, and they're contracting very hard. It's a dense contraction, but when I poke my chest out, arch my back, shoulders back, and then I elbow, I can make my lats cramp on command. In fact, they're actually kind of hurting after that. So that's another added tip. Instead of just elbowing back, try and roll your shoulders back as you elbow back. Now give that a try. You can do it slow, so I'll walk through it with you. Chest up, shoulders back, and as you roll your shoulders back, put your mind right here, elbow back. So like this. It's almost like you're trying to tuck your elbows in your butt pockets. Think about it that way. So chest up, You're trying to tuck your elbows into your butt pocket there. It'll really get those lats contracting. It works for me. I hope it works for you. But I hope this helps, guys. There's so much crap on the internet. You would be absolutely amazed at the pro bodybuilders I have talked to, including Jay Cutler, Chris Bumstead. I've talked to Seth Feroci. I've talked to a bunch of different people, okay? And the number one thing that they say is that their workout routines are extremely simple, almost brainless. Their diet is extremely simple, almost brainless. And I generally tend to find that some of the best bodybuilders in the world have the most simple approach. So I hope that helps you guys. If you are overcomplicating this and you just can't get it, take a chill pill, relax. I don't mean that ugly. Just relax for a second and realize this isn't hard. Don't overcomplicate it. You're taking a weight and you're trying to feel the weight, and then you just eat to rebuild the muscle, and that's it. That's as simple as it needs to be. Keep it that way and experience the growth that I know you can do. So, you know, that's about all I got time for today, guys. I hope that helps. If you guys have any questions, always feel free to leave them down in the comments below. Sometimes I take video ideas from your comments, so if there's something you'd like to see from me personally, go ahead and request it, and it will 99% sure get made a video on. So I said that horribly. My brain runs a lot faster than my mouth does, so there we go. There you have it. Thank you guys again. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate each and every one of you. This is such an awesome community. It's so positive, so uplifting, and thank you for that. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. It's going to be a workout and bodybuilding fundamentals for next week, and I hope you guys take care of yourselves, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care, guys. Bye.
Music licensing reimagined.